So a few months ago, I decided to leave the UK and move to Canada, and I realised that I've not spoken about why I did it, or how I did it, or even how it's going. So I decided it was time to kind of just sit down and use this as a little bit of a journal to see what's happening, where I'm going, and fuel a bit of creativity as well. So yeah, grab yourself a cup of tea and let's have a chat.
Hey guys, so if you are new to my face in general, then hi, my name is Danny. I'm a musician and an audio engineer and producer, and recently I quit my job of 6 years of working on cruise ships and decided to move to Canada on my own with no job and to a town I'd never been to before. And I realised that that's a big thing, and I wanted to just make a video, journal how it's going for anybody wanting to do a similar thing and have some tips on maybe starting over again. And it's a big move, of course, so you're probably anxious about different things, and also it's good for me to kind of journal these things of how it's going and what's happening. So let's get into it. First things first, why did I move to Canada? Well, I'd been on cruise ships for 6 years and it's been the best 6 years of my life, but a whole lot's changed since the pandemic. For me, it kind of run its course of where I got out of it what I wanted, and I was ready to do something different. I've always been into making my own music, producing music, and I wanted to come to Canada to try and get some more experience in audio engineering, producing, and get back into being a bit more creative, because the cruise ship musician gig is great, but yeah, it kind of just drains you creatively. So a friend told me all about a visa that you can get if you're from a selected few countries, and decided that I wanted to give it a try. So the visa that I'm on currently, between the age of 18 to 35, if you're from the UK, you can go on what's called a working holiday visa, where you can live and work freely in Canada. There's one for Australia, New Zealand. A friend told me all about this visa and I was like, that sounds great. And then I left it years and years, and then last year I kind of was ready for a change, so I decided to just dive in and go for it. When I first started working on cruise ships, that was also a big jump. It was something that I'd never even heard of as a job, and decided just to go for it and give it a try, and it worked out great. You know, I worked there for 6 years and I thought, treat this with the same kind of mindset and everything will be good. So I wanted to move to Canada, as I said, to become better at audio engineering. And there's horror stories all over the internet to do with working holiday visas, where people come to Canada or Australia or any country and they end up just sat without any job. And I guess I've been really, really fortunate in my time here in Canada. I arrived in September. I did a lot of research before I came, and I knew I wanted to be in the Toronto area. Toronto's a big city, it kind of reminds me of London a little bit, and it's expensive. So I looked around. I settled for Hamilton, Ontario. Hamilton doesn't have the best reputation. I can see why, but it's a great city. It's got so much culture, it's got great creative minds going off, and yeah, it's a general good in between. Number one tip is to kind of do your research before you move in anywhere. I did a lot of research into rent, cost of living, where it's situated, and yeah, the things that are around. Essentially, it's important to do that kind of research. The number one thing I can say for landing a job if you move to another town where you've never been, it's all about networking. This is done on social media a lot of the time these days, but I've heard it so many times since I've been here from other people in a similar kind of situation, that you cannot be going out and meeting people face to face. Now, social networking is great, but a face through a keyboard is not always the best. You know, you can't get a real judge of character as such from people. I would recommend when you're moving to a new country, just get out there and network with people. And it's hard work, you know, you're in a new country. If you're like me, you've got a strange accent as well, so people don't always understand what you're saying. Get out, network with people and get to know people, because if not, if you just stay at home or wherever you're staying, you will just become nestled with what have I done, where am I going, why have I done this yet? Go to networking events, and that's how I landed my job. Since I got here, I managed to land my dream job, essentially. I went to a networking night and I managed to bag a gig as an audio engineer at a recording studio. That's exactly what I wanted to do. And that all came from just doing some research online through social media, seeing this networking night, turning up face to face, just be willing to go out and get it, you know. I've been working at this studio now since I came here, since around November time, and I've learned so much in engineering, and that's comes to, it's all right not to know these things, you know, it's all right not to be an expert in everything that we try to do. And yeah, so it's great. I'm working with some really cool bands and artists and all sorts of different projects, which is really, really great to be working with. One of the big things that gets said of what's the hardest part about moving to Canada is loneliness, you know, especially if you just come on your own to a new town. It's really, really hard to mix trying to socialize with people, not spending a crazy amount of money going out all the time, and you've just got to get out there and go and meet people, you know, join some clubs, find out what's going on in your local town. And that is the answer to kind of just getting out, because if you just stay in your own little bubble, it'll really get you down, and it's hard to get out of it, you know, especially if you're in a country on your own and it's not like you can just go and visit family or friends. But yeah, 6 months in, you can see that as time goes on, you're developing, you're building something new, you know, so that's the biggest recommendation. So yeah, Mum, I'm still alive here in Canada, and I just want to do this video more as a journal for myself really, and I guess for anybody kind of looking for any advice, moving to a new place, discovering something new. If you have any questions, by the way, put them in the comments below. I'd love to answer anything. I'm also on Instagram, TikTok, all that sort of stuff, and yeah, just trying to make it work, you know, trying to make it work. So, and hopefully start doing some more videos. I say this all the time, and I'm trying to get out of this creative rut of making one video and being too hard on yourself and thinking, why did I make that video? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.